Still got a long way to go. It's almost as if I forgot how to paint like this. But it's only been about 2.5 hours. I can't stand waiting for things to dry. Let's try this again. It's been about 10 minutes. Woo! Thank you for this day. Congrats to you, Ohtani. But for me and the good old ATL Braves, state of GA, man, perfect. A weight has been lifted off my shoulders. Thank you. Keep them coming. Not even close to being done. But that's not bad for about what? Maybe a couple hours a day for the past week, while skipping a couple of days. Should have been done with this thing by now. Got to put some shadows under the clouds, you know. Got to get that gray, that natural gray. Kind of water it down a little bit. Get the clouds completed. I tell you what though, I totally forgot how hard the trees were to do. And they're still not done. I mean, when it comes to trees and stuff like that, you got to use like 5 different shades of green. You got to use black and like 3 shades of brown. And then you have to show the white to show the bright highlights, but not too overwhelming, you know. Just enough to make it perfect. Quite enjoyable, but still a long way to go. I mean, literally each tree is taking like an hour. That's what it seems like. And then the closer you get to your person, you know, the viewer, you gotta add more fine details in the foreground and kind of fade it out towards the background, you know. And then the water definitely needs a lot of work. I mean, I gotta put little gravel pieces, stuff like that. Maybe some giant rocks inside the creek. And I know you're questioning this part right here. Now, you know creeks, they don't flow fluid all the time. Depends on your perspective on it. But I see this happen a lot right here, where there's like an eddy zone where there's like soft soil and stuff like that. When the waters rush in and it gets caught up in one single location before it gets sent out. So I kind of added that in there too. I guess to make it more realistic. But I still have a long way to go with this. I mean, I'm probably going to have to paint in some sticks, a couple of small log jams here and there. Some grass. Maybe some bushes in the landscape. Maybe a couple of down trees. Got to add some boulders right here. That's why I haven't painted that yet. Because I'm going to put some boulders on the incline right there. And then this tree's nowhere near done. I can't finish the trunk of the tree, which is going to go right here. I can't finish that until I finish the water and finish the grass and finish the bank. So much goes into this, it's not even funny. I mean, I could have gone abstract with it and slapped a bunch of colors on this thing and call it a landscape. Maybe I'll do that on my next one. Can't forget the shadowing though. Gotta add the shadows of the trees. Gotta get that black, water it down a little bit, give that shadow effect. I practiced on that one a little bit. It looks nice. Needs to be a little bit bigger, I think. It might be another week before I get done with this thing. Don't forget the birds. I know I haven't touched that in about 2 days. It takes too long to paint perfectly, you know. That's what I told you before. I'm trying to get away from the perfection, and I'm too busy trying to make this thing perfect. And it's nowhere near done, even though I made a list of things I had to add in. You know, kind of fix the clouds a little bit. I think I added too much shadowing. What else? More grass details in the foreground, around the base of the trees. Finish the logs and debris within the creek. That's the last thing I done. Add some boulders on the hillside here. I think I got a list of like 7 things I need to do. Finish the stem of this tree right here. Add it in. And a few other things. But that's quite the masterpiece. I thought about signing it and donating it to Goodwill. Come back later, see if anybody grabbed that thing. Now, you know how good or how bad your artwork is. When you do something as sneaky as I do, and you create all this art, you take it to Goodwill to see if anybody's going to, it's like a different kind of fishing, you know. It's a different kind of fishing. Where you create art, and you take it to Goodwill to see how it's accepted from the consumer out there, the human race, you know? You're going to say, why don't you just sell it on eBay or something like that for a couple $100s? I do things differently. But no, I haven't done this before. I haven't donated my stuff to Goodwill like that to see if anybody's going to grab it. But you can always tell the quality of your stuff on where they put it, you know? You know exactly what I mean. Let's say if I took this to Goodwill or Salvation Army or something like this, and I put a frame around. Let's say I got some nice, decent frame, didn't cost too much, whatever. And I got a frame for it. And it has the glass front, it's signed. You can tell it's real. It's not printed. It doesn't have that fake glaze stuff on it and make it look like brush strokes. This thing is legit, real deal Holyfield. But imagine, you know what they think about it, depending on where they put it. So if you go to a Goodwill, you donate it, come back 3 days later, and you find this thing on the shelf, you suck. But if you come back and you find this thing in the glass case or behind the counter, you're legit. Just one of my little ideas, one of my little schemes. But those things will never go to Goodwill. Still don't know what I'm going to do with them when I go bye-bye. I thought about encasing them around some concrete case, some vault. Kind of like a different kind of archive. Have it buried. Cloudy, drizzly day. Would you look at that? Thank the Lord for the rain that you have given us. Well, given nature at least. What a beautiful day. I know I should be out there trekking through the forest.
You know, doing Da Vinci style things. It's like 65 out there today. You're going to say, why don't you go out? Because it's late fall, going into winter, on a Saturday. Had to go to the hobby store. Stock up on a couple things last night so I can make plans to stay in this weekend. So I can finish some things off, you know. Almost done with this thing. Got the clouds fixed. Thought about tossing a couple of UFOs in that thing. The black spots are the birds. Thought about adding some things to the foreground, you know. Got the leaves in there. Gotta make this thing look realistic. Always striving for perfection. It's so hard to do that thing, though. Forgot what it was like to paint like this. Ain't nothing like trying to make things look 3D. You guys gonna say, Da Vinci, you crazy. Well, I've only been working on it for a little while for the past week. It's come a long way for real. It's almost like I can never stop. It's like I keep adding stuff. I mean, I thought about adding like a little fence up here at the top of the hill. Gotta get the scale right to bring it out. To make sure it doesn't look too off scale. Because that's a far distance away from where we're looking at. Where we're looking from, you know. Gotta be careful when it comes to the scale of the things you put in here. You're gonna say, why don't you add some ducks? Some wildlife, some cows on the pasture, you know. I thought about adding some kind of shrubbery or something like that along the creek right here. With some blue flowers, maybe some red ones. Trying to get more color in this thing. Who were the ones a long time ago in one of my videos? When I was going through some of my abstracts. Want to know when I was going to be able to do something like this again. It just takes time. That's why I like abstracts so much. I can do one in 17 minutes instead of 17 days. Instead of 17 years. Who was the one long time ago that said, my painting will get better? I wrote down the EVP when I was in the studio a while back, about a year and a half ago. Maybe it was just last year. When they actually said their name and they said, your painting will be better. Wonder who that was. I still can't hear the name. No reason to be afraid of the white space anymore. But I knew it was going to take time. It takes time to do this kind of quality work. Even though it's not perfect. You have to blend in a little bit of abstract to it. Without trying to make it look like a photograph. I almost thought I was done with this thing the other night, and I just kept sitting here in my rocking chair looking at it, trying to come up with more stuff to add to it. Maybe some white birds sitting on the land over here, you know.
I just don't want to destroy it, though. Almost ready for the frame. Already got one in mind. Ain't nothing like heaven. Man, it's 3:40. It feels like I haven't accomplished jack all day. It takes a long time to paint, though. Dang. I had this idea many years ago, though, when it comes to the art of painting itself. I had this idea that anybody who has a profession of painting houses or anything like that, like professional painters, any of them can be a professional painter when it comes to painting paintings. Because they already got that gift of like moving the brush with a hand, you know? They got to get that feel for that. Imagine what they can do to the houses if they gave it a little bit more of an artistic touch. You know? Yeah, but I've been painting these little blue flowers in, then I got to go back and add a little bit of tiny little stems. Might take 2 hours just to add some stems, some extra tiny leaves. I tried to work with the contrast to get it right. Yeah, got some little stems on these right here. But the thing that took the longest up until this point of getting these beautiful blue flowers in landscape, you know, the ground cover. One thing I had to do was go back and kind of blend in the green with the bank, you know, to kind of make it match a little bit. Add some more color, some more shadows. 4 different shades of green. You guys crazy. No, this is not going to be the only landscape that I do. Yeah. I think I'm finally done with this thing. You know, I thought about adding horses. I was just kidding when I was talking about the UFOs. I thought about adding in some other components, but I just don't want to overdo it because every time I do something, I always overdo it. I mean, this thing should have been done about a week ago. It doesn't always have to be perfect. I mean, that's one of the foundations of art itself. Creation. Only nature's perfect. We're just here to follow their lead. And we can never make it as perfect as them. As it. But like I said, when it comes to striving for perfection, when it comes to painting, long time ago, in order to take a picture, you had to paint the picture. Now these days, you got a camera. So now you have to work backwards. If you want to strive for perfection when it comes to painting, why don't you just take the picture instead? And just work backwards. Arterize the crap out of it. You know? I'll tell you one thing though. One thing I know about when it comes to art, well, one of the main things that I know about when it comes to art, one thing I'm very, very worried about when it comes to this right here. And I've known about this my entire life. I told you about this when it comes to my inventions. It seems like these days you can't invent anything because there's so many human beings and time has progressed so quickly for us now. It's almost like everything's already been thought of. And there's no use to try to invent anything, you know? And I come up with inventions every single day. You want to take a look at my notebook in my in my iPhone? It's almost like there's so many things that you can't do now these days. And I'm not going to say that I'm ready for a reset. But that's what I'm afraid of. What I call the overlapping of time and history when it comes to art. The overlapping of it. I mean, look at this painting, for instance. Use this as an example. And other things like that. Abstract more than you could ever imagine. Just something out of my mind. But one thing that worries me about this overlapping of art and history and time itself. All these human beings, all these artists around the world these days. People you've never heard of before. And then you got the ones of the past. The thousands of artists that reach all the way back into the ancient times. And the more that come along, the more that are born every single day. And the plenty that pass on. And what they leave behind tells many truths. But one thing I'm so worried about, the overlapping of the time itself, the overlapping of the art. We're so congested in this world this day, these times, these days, when it comes to the human race, when it comes to ones that love to create, the overlapping of it. Something you never thought about before, but something I've always known about. Especially these days, and the further we get along into the future, the more I create, the more we create, and do things like this, no matter abstract or what. There's always that possibility that there's going to be that overlap when it comes to the art. Just like this painting, for example. Compared to all the paintings ever created in history, the more we get along, the more we evolve, the more we create, there's always that possibility that what you just created matches perfectly to something that was created in the past. Perfectly. That's what I'm worried about most. It's almost like there would be no reason to create anymore. There's no individuality. Nothing really left undiscovered. You know, think about it. I mean, what if I made this one drawing that takes 10 minutes? Something completely out of my mind. Drawn onto paper, mixing with paint, a sketch, different colors, different forms, but not knowing that it matches up perfectly with something that was created in the past. Either the distant past or just recently. That overlap is what I'm worried about. Because it's that one single point in time. Once you do that one thing, it's almost like there's no reason to go further. Because it's not unique. Something I've always worried about when it comes to art, when it comes to life. Think about that one. Let me go ahead and spray some clear coat on this thing. Let's hope it doesn't darken the whites, you know? Let's hope it doesn't make it too dark. Beautiful. Would you look at that? I finally completed a painting. I mean, the abstracts are, we can never call the abstracts completed. Because abstract, it just keeps going. Even when you think you completed abstract, it just keeps going. But when it comes to this kind of thing right here, it's finally complete. I know the sky's a little bit too big. I mean, I don't know how this started. I just slapped some green, dark green on the painting. Wanted to do some kind of landscape, and it turned out to be this. But I'll never cut it down. Not anymore. I mean, I was made to make the sky that big for some reason. In case I want to come back later and add something else. Maybe a giant airplane or something. Me flying through the sky. How about that? Maybe some angels. Yeah. I'm not putting it in this frame, though. That's what that is. That's what that's for. Nature does some perfect things. I'm just testing out this frame because I like the wood. That's a nice look. I mean, it's not really modern art, but something else is. It's already in the frame. What nature created. Just like this one. I gotta go get professionally framed. That one. The one that nature did. Just like all the other stuff that we find. The laws of nature is still working on it. Look at that. Let me see if I can influence it. They want us to look at something. How many faces have I spotted in this thing? The ones that the human race will never see. It's a whole other level of pareidolia. I think I spotted at least 5. And a couple of full, complete figures, just about. I mean, not really full, but upper body. And a couple of animals. Where's the bear? You'll never see him. Beautiful piece. I cannot wait to get this thing professionally framed when I walk up in there. Tell them what kind of matting I'm looking for, what kind of frame, what size. To try to showcase what nature can do when it comes to time itself. What they're able to do, what they're capable of doing. I mean, it's almost like they can paint human figures and faces and all better than we can. You'll never see them. I mean, there's a few sets of eyes, too. Peeking around. This thing is a masterpiece. And it's going to be priceless. You just got to sit back and try to find them all. It's like a puzzle. You got to look at it. Every which way. Do you see the lady with the brown hair? With the mid to late 1800s gown on? There she is right there. Looking up and to the left. Where are their arms, though? It's almost like they put her in a gown. Like it's from the 1800s. dark curly hair. So many more. 2 eyes, another one. Bridge of the nose looking right at us. Their right eye, their left eye. Bridge of the nose, shading and shadowing is just perfect. There's another one. Right eye, bridge of the nose. They look like a knight. The left eye just blends into the makeup. What about the angry looking man? Old man. Right at the top. Can't miss him. Kind of looks like the devil. Left eye, right eye, nose, mouth, chin, side of the face. They look angry. What about the African American lady looking back at us? Right there. She's wearing some kind of hat. There's her right eye. There's her nose. There's her mouth. There's her chin. Left side of the face just blends in with everything else. Perfect shading and shadowing. It's almost like they recorded a story from back in time. History of the land out there. What a masterpiece. They know how to record Metatron style, for real. It's almost like this thing was a photograph from like the 1850s. Probably 1800s through like the early 1900s. I bet they were husband and wife. Who knows? Where's the bear at? You'll never see him. Left eye, right eye, bridge of the nose. There's the nose, down to the mouth. Left side of their face, up to the ear. Look how they made the coloring though. The highlights just stand out so perfectly. But why would they make a bear's face on this? Because they can. Beautiful. And everything just fades down to the bottom. This framing store is probably going to think I'm crazy when I ask them to frame this thing. Because it's a masterpiece. With a lot of history recorded inside of it. What a painting, what a photograph. with a lot of stories.